Hello everyone, my name is AP the Weird One, and welcome back to Full Metal Panic, Episode 19, Uruz 6, Uruz 7. The recruitment of Kurtz Weber and, of course, Sosuke Sagara. This is the last filler episode for the season, and I think in total of the terms of the main lines from Second Raid and Victory as well. So there is, of course, Fumafu, but we'll get to that when we get to it. But anyway, look, this story comes from the second volume. It is basically the same title, Engage Uruz 6, Uruz 7. And this one, in terms of the episode, it kind of shortens what happens in the light novel a bit, but it's actually kind of easier to digest in the anime format as opposed to the light novel. The light novel is like, there is a lot of extra detail, and there's some stuff that I do want to go over. But overall, the anime is, I would say, a better experience. I would say probably the one negative is that they kind of like, and then sort of the conversation kind of goes like that. I wish it was maybe a little bit smoother with the recruitment. They kind of like, they talk a little bit and then they go back to the bath and kind of go back and forth with it. It's not the end of the world. It did irk me just slightly, but let's go get into it. So we have the beginning. The ladies are having a nice bath after the big party. They are in a bathtub that's designed for cleaning AS parts. Chidori thought didn't think it was the best idea, but Tessa's like, no, don't worry. I built this. Like, this is my pride and joy. It's of course gonna be safe for humans, and as expected. But they get in basically a conversation about recruiting Uruz 6 or Uruz 7, and it's pretty short. It's basically a pretty short and sweet event of how it happens. The previous Uruz 6, Uruz 7 got in an accident, and she's been tasked to get them on basically short notice. In the light novel, in terms of what happens in an accident, they basically get in a wind baffled, they kind of like a little small windstorm, and then they kind of crash into each other, and it kind of messed them up. Uruz 6 gets a hurt leg and a hurt. His waist also gets injured, and so he's prevented from ever piloting an AS ever again. And then the 7, he basically saw God and said, "You must go to Florida and start farming for shrimp." So yeah. Their commander is a little bit peeved about that, but him going to Florida. But yeah, they're both not in a position to do it, and they like I said, goes on to recruit new teams for the SRT, which is basically like the special forces part of Mithril, like the best of the best. Like, you need to be in top shape. You either if you can't be an AS pilot, you got to do something else. So it's a very big time unit. Now, some other details before we get into the recruitment, the aspects. We did learn that Mal becomes part of the Marines, and she kind of learned that she could be a boss lady, but that's not how you make it through life in the military aspect of society. And I think it is important for any type of women these days, because they act like the boss lady, and like, you really shouldn't, because you're not going to be well liked. According to Mao, you need to be flexible, be full of cooperation, and be competent. Show that you actually are worth your salt. So I think that's very important to society, at least from from any job aspect. If you're going to the man's field or something similar. So yeah, and I think women in general need to be like that now. Feminism has been a large pain in the problem. But anyway, we'll get back into the begged issues of the recruitment. I just wanted to bring it up because women just seem to be that way recently, and I find that a bit ironic. Anyway, so she goes in to recruit. She first runs into Kurt. In the night novel, he's not supposed to be assigned to her, but yeah, he catches her and then lures into her, and he manages to try to get a kiss off her. He's like, "I'm not good with a rifle, but I think love will help me." And they have a little scuffle. And then with Sosuke, he just got these average skills, but Mal looks that when Mal is looking through the 3 people that she's considering, she sees that Sasuke basically beat an M6 with an RK-92. This is the RK-92 is a black version of the Ravage. So, and then these right. No, wait. This is the this right here is what this is M6. In the previous episode, we've seen the military. We've seen the American version, but he took out a black version. She kind of like Mal's like okay. She kind of pushes off to the side because these are very old machines. Like all right. One other thing in the light novel to mention is that Mal is kind of in a bath towel when she does the look over, but in here she's kind of like in fatigues. One other thing that I would like to mention in regards to with Kurt's involvement is that Kurt mentioned when he's talking to Estel, kind of the man in charge of the recruitment area, he mentions that Kurt's made a bet with some of the soldiers, and he essentially shot a .38 Winchester rifle bullet into a tiny trophy from the basically a kilometer away, so almost a mile away. And I kind of wish that we'd seen that we'd seen that in an episode, because we haven't really seen how good Kurt is. We're gonna see a little bit later in terms of success, but I kind of felt we've seen him with the behemoth. Never mind. But I kind of wish we had seen that in action. It's not I wish they would shown in light novel, but I really wish it was shown in the anime. Something to keep in mind. But yeah, so. And when she learns about this, she goes over to Sasuke. His name has been written down differently, or they done weirdly, but it's like, no, it was a fluke and everything. He's been uncooperative. And in the light novel, we can understand why Kurt and Sasuke are like that way. Like they don't show their skills. They're both very good at what they've done. And when they got to this camp, they were told like, oh, this is going to be a great opportunity for you. And they haven't really seen very much. So that's why they haven't been so jonesing on showing their skills. But later when the daughter of Belize gets kidnapped by a group of hoodlums, terrorists, they volunteer. And then when they get to the area where they're being, the girl's being held hostage, they eventually reveal their skills and show off what they can really do. So, yeah, we have... And then following these events, Mal, of course, chooses both Kurt and Sasuke. Now, there is one other aspect, and I think the light novel does get this a little bit better. When Mal is looking over for recruitments, she has the mindset of she needs to choose a pilot that essentially is someone she would want to be a partner for life, like a marriage proposal, as you're trusting them with their life. And when she's looking through the recruitments, like nothing had stuck out of her. But then when she's seen Sasuke and Kurt's skills, like, okay, she's kind of admitted like these are the men that she would marry in real life or trust with herself. Kind of a bit of a funny thing, but that's something maybe the anime could have dwelled on, like kind of give her inner thoughts, like, yeah, I should choose someone that I would potentially want to marry. And when Curry is actually flirting with her, she's not actually repulsed, but she's like, no, I gotta be adult and put this clown in his place. So there is the early beginnings of Mal liking Kurt. But in terms of the episode, yeah, we get to see the recruitment, but we do get to see some very nice fan service. Near the end of the episode, we of course see Mal in her nice booba. We just see little nice scenes, and then of course we see Chidori's got a nice rear end, bare ass, and then of course we also see Mal's a little bit cheeky of her butt. We do get to see a little bit of that. So yeah, we've got a little bit of nice fan service. Oh, go back to this one, but after the story about Sasuke and Kurt recruitment, we then get a little bit of tour, rest of the tour of the Tooth Ladan. Not so much the private quarters, but the rest of the building, and that's provided by Sasuke. So that takes us to the episode, and next time we of course going to have we have the proper mission going after Garon and his hijinks. But yeah, this episode, it's a nice filler. It's one of the two better ones. The other one, of course, being seeing Tessa and Mal compete. Those are two of the best filler episodes. The other ones have been weak sauce. And I do like this better than it is in light novel. I just wish there was a couple additions, but overall not too bad. It's the ladies get to relax and have a good time. It flows within the series, and we get to see a little fan service and just see our boys how they got recruited by Mal. It's a fun time. But with that, I'll see you guys next time. Next week's going to be a bit interesting with my dog's knee surgery, so we'll see. I'm probably going to do a couple episodes in advance. But with that, I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully you have a wonderful Friday and a wonderful weekend.